Richa's just, made a quiet joke, but please, congratulations, Richa. She's saying producer and reproducer. Richa's just had a baby girl just a few months ago. So congratulations, Richa, from us to you. All right. I want to begin with what the title of the session is, how women are redefining Indian cinema. A couple of years ago, it could have been how Indian cinema is redefining women. And I don't want to stick to cliches because I think we're in a very different space right now. And it's been a marquee year for Indian cinema. Richa, your film, Girls Will Be Girls, has won at Sundance. Richa and her husband have produced that film. You have Guneet Monga, who's an Oscar winner. And her film, Elephant Whisperer, last year won at the Oscar Best Documentary. And congratulations, Kiran. We hear Kiran's film, Lapata Ladies, is our entry to the Oscars this year. And, what is very reassuring, and I'm not saying as a woman, but in India, is that you all happen to be women. It's not, you're women and you've done so well. But most of these films that have done so well on an international platform, which has practically showcased India and put the spotlight on India, have actually come from women. And, that's a great part. But to begin with, Guneet, you want to give some tips to Kiran? You're fresh off the Oscar rack and Kiran is hoping to win it for us, another one this year.
No, I will definitely say that Lapata Ladies is definitely the best Hindi film of the year. So it's one of course, my favorite. It's so beautiful. And so glad to meet you today because this news came only yesterday. But yes, it is, I think, the few stages, which is the shortlist and the nomination. And you get to a top 15 and then to a top 5. And that only, there is a campaign that I feel like, I always feel that we have little time. It has to start as of yesterday. I constantly feel like hopefully our nominations are given as early as possible so we can gear up for a campaign which is getting all the voters who are in the category to get us to a shortlist. It is technical, it is difficult, but it is what every country goes through. And there are certain norms and certain things to do there. But yes, step one will be just get out there and, get going. Roll up the sleeves. It's time to flex and it's time to put a hoarding on the moon.
Well, congratulations and we wish you the best and we hope you get another Oscar back. And Guneet, we're going to talk a bit about, how we don't make it just an aberration. An Elephant Whisperer or an RRR for India is not just an aberration at the Oscars, where we continue to perform well and continue to bring home, an Oscar trophy. We're going to come, talk a bit about that. But on a larger scale, and Richa, let's, get you in as well and we'll go into Kiran later. It's been a fantastic year. If you look at India and cinema abroad, your own film, phenomenally well. You've won at Sundance. Payal Kapadia's film is, rave reviews across the country. Lapata Ladies, Guneet, your own film. What is it that we are doing right? Or do you think it's just the perfect storm? Everything is just coming together?
I think the first thing to remember is that independent cinema of any kind needs support. Guneet has been my producer and she's often spoken about this, how we need to have more labs like art film Girls Will Be Girls. We found co-producers for it in France and in India. After we entered the script in the NFDC Film Bazaar, which happens in Goa every year, which is a Government of India initiative actually. So, and then there was a subsidy in place for a film like ours, which was a very, very small film. For that film to get back, say, some amount of spends, you have to have qualifying expenses, etc. But basically, you apply for a subsidy. The state of Uttarakhand at that time was considering offering a subsidy. And then 2 years ago, I think at Cannes, India announced a co-production treaty with France, whereby both countries could benefit if, films were made in India. So I think it's important to have some support like that. I mean, it's no coincidence that Girls Will Be Girls is an Indo-French co-production, as is Payal Kapadia's film. So you see, when you have structures in place, and some amount of like scholarship money or subsidy money or basically soft money that you don't have to return to the investor. It makes the job of the creators easier. So I would say that yes, we are doing something right in terms of script writing, but the talent was always there. It's good if we have some more structures like this in place whereby we can make sure that more films of good quality are produced out of India.
Richa, was there an attempt to pick a particular storyline? In terms of script? What spoke to you about Girls Will Be Girls?
Well, Girls Will Be Girls is a script that I've been involved in right from the beginning because my college batchmate wrote it and this was kind of our dream. So we are the girls from Girls Will Be Girls and this is our dream being taken to the international stage. I think the film is about a mother-daughter relationship, and I think my relationship with my director Shuchi Talati is also, female friendship is so important. I've turned to both of these women on stage for things that are non-professional to seek advice from them. And Aparna is sitting here. I speak to her many times about things that matter to all of us in our professional and sometimes even personal lives. I think female solidarity, women standing by each other, teamwork and looking out for each other is very, very crucial. And I think it bears good results in the world today.
Sisters in solidarity, sisters in arms. There's so much one can keep, speaking of that. But Kiran, there's also somewhere down the line, just because you're a woman producer, a woman director, to go with the burden of trying to give out a social message through a film. Do you think, that bears on you sometime, especially during Lapata Ladies, or was it just a byproduct? Because it was very breezy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, actually, the story spoke to me, I think, particularly because it was a story of two girls searching for their freedom, for their opportunity, for their voice. So I think stories like that interest filmmakers like me intrinsically, especially because I feel stories of women and by women we do not see enough. I think it's exceedingly important that we invest much more in women storytellers, in producers, in actors, in projects helmed by women. So I don't think it's a byproduct. I think, in fact, if anything, it made me realize that I'm actually most keenly aware and most keenly interested in women's experiences. And I'll probably continue to want to have interesting and nuanced women characters in everything that I do.
I'll tell you a story, Kiran. So when your film, released, at that time we were in the thick of elections. And I'm a political reporter. And I have two producers who are both women. And we were in the back of beyond of East UP, if I'm not wrong, Jaunpur. And I remember at night, and we were keeping 20-hour, days. And at night, both these girls who are very young, like I'm 41, both these girls must be 25. And they kept telling me, Preeti, you have to watch this. We're doing 20-hour shifts. Just go to sleep, you have to wake up at 5. Both these girls saw that film through the night, sat on me, you must watch it, you must watch it. And I remember from Jaunpur, we reached Ghazipur in 2 days, and I watched it, and I was blown. And I'll tell you the story. We went to the Ghazipur Senior Secondary Girls College, and we spoke to all of them. They loved it. And, so it spoke to all of us. And coming from very, very different backgrounds and very, very different ages. So that's a huge compliment.
It is indeed. Thank you.
But were you, and I'll come to the question. To get a cast which you don't have a big name, like simple faces, simple storytelling, not trying to punch your way into social messaging, most of it delivered with humor. How do you put it all together?
I think not having a star cast was important to both Amir and me. We felt that the story, if it remained rooted and organic, would be that much more believable and enjoyable. And I think that's one of the things that the audiences responded to the most. Completely fresh faces, so that you actually forgot. You didn't know who they were, so you forgot and you immersed yourself in the world. I think that really went in our favor. And Yeah, the rest of it, of course, we worked very hard to take all these ideas that we wanted to put into the story, experiences of women, everyday struggles that you have at different stages of your life, to put it in very seamlessly into the story and try and weave it in through humor, because nobody wants a lecture when they go to the cinema hall. And honestly, I think humor is one of the best ways to address some of the stickiest, most uncomfortable problems. So it was an automatic choice because it is a satire. It's quite unbelievable, two girls getting swapped on a train because of a gungat. So it lent itself very naturally to satire and humor. And I think when we learn to laugh at ourselves and we can, take complicated and uncomfortable problems and laugh at them, I think we make space for conversation. We make space to actually be able to talk to people whom we've othered or people whom we think we are very different from.
No, like I said, it spoke to a lot of us, because I still remember one 18-year-old telling his bhabhi, again, in that same belt, lapata lady ho jayega, gungat utha lo. But Guneet, to bring you in and to touch on the question that we were talking about earlier. Your own film last year winning the Oscars, RRR doing well at the Oscars. Now, how do we as a country, as a film industry, ensure it's not just a one-off? How do we ensure that Kiran brings back an Oscars for Lapata Ladies and so on and so forth?
Bring Guneet on board.
I think the key for, last year was really, really special with Shaunak Sain's film, with RRR and Elephant Whispers in 3 separate categories. All of us actually there felt like a unit promoting, our categories and running a campaign. But I think at the core of it does lie, one has to understand that these are American awards. So at the core of it does lie American distribution. And there is a system to that. It's now, I think, in 70 some years. 97 years. I'm actually a member, but yes. So it's been lasting for so many years, right? It's been lasting for so many years. At the core of it, it is awards held in US, and US distribution is at the center of it, because it's a year-long work. So I think somewhere that is very important, and RRR also was able to re-release, which is a huge feat and a huge expense. But running the distribution there and thinking about it early on is at the absolute core of it. So that is very, very important. And we were with both Period End of Sentence and Elephant Whispers was distributed by Netflix. They were both Netflix originals. So we had an American distributor on board as the key person to run the campaign with, of course, all of us. But in fact, even Lagan, if you see, it had Sony Picture Classic, and they did a fantastic campaign. It's actually a huge, huge deal to even get till nominations. It's very, it's a whole process. So we've gotten very close with the Lagan. We've gotten very close with RRR and with Elephant Whispers and the song. Gotten a chance to get up on the stage. But it is actually constant effort as independent filmmakers to think about American distribution. If there is an independent film that needs to, that will play into the awards, it's part of producing that we look at the distribution from early on.
Because that also works for Kiran, because she's got, Amir Khan, then she has Jio.
Yes, in fact,
they've got that backing.
Yes, and in fact, it is so exciting because I know it was 20 years ago, but the process is still there. So yes.
And the last time we went there was Lagan. And now we are going back with Lapata Ladies. Richa, you have produced a film, you've reproduced recently, and you're also an actor. And you were fantastic in Hira Mandi. And Hira Mandi has also, I think, the amount of acclaim, the amount of appreciation on a global stage, I think very, very few series have gotten, and I think Hira Mandi would be one of them. And to pick that role, to play that character with the flamboyance and, I would rather the rawness of it was spectacular. So balancing both, now producing as well as trying to pick roles that matter to you.
Thank you for saying that about Hira Mandi. I'm glad it did well. Netflix released some numbers, and It's done even better than anybody, I think, and the makers had any idea about. Um, One of the reasons trying to become a producer, or I'm producing now, is to have more creative control over my own destiny as an artist, and to be able to have more of a say in how a film is marketed, produced, how it's positioned, who we can cast. Like, I don't, if we were not making an independent film and the budget was perhaps higher, we would have needed what is called a name actor. And now we have newcomers in the film, and Kanni Kusruti, who of course is enjoying the glory from All We Imagine Is Light. She's a fantastic actress. But I mean, we would have been forced to justify taking a star who could carry off the load of this budget of the film. So everything kind of plays together. And being on this side, of course, has made me quite humble. I understand how challenging the life of a producer is. For a film like RRR, you will need stars. But the minute you put a very big presence in a film like Lapata Ladies, somebody with an overarching persona or somebody who's very, very well known, and you cast them, it's not going to work in the same way. So I think this has made me more humble about the job of a producer. Really, hats off. It's very, very challenging. But at the same time, I don't view it as being very different from acting. It's like, it's an extension of what you do. Especially now, gone are the days where a producer could just throw bags of money and just get stuff done. Now, these people sitting here, they are putting their soul and their heart, and they're trying to decide the creative destiny of the script by pulling in the right kind of people who will do the music, who will do the costume, who's good with period dramas, who's good with these kind of sets, what kind of dialect will we use, who will sort of market the film. These are all very crucial decisions, and they fall on on the shoulders of the producer. So it's an extension of acting, I would say. And more actresses today are turning to production. I know Tapsi Pannu has, Kriti Sanon is producing. Yeah, so a lot of Sonam Kapoor, Riya Kapoor already produced. So you would see a lot more from female producers going forward.
To talk of Hira Mandi, Richa, the similarities also, very, very different canvases where Hira Mandi is concerned and Lapata Ladies. But strangely, the messaging is quite the same. And I'm going to narrow it down to gender now. So, the kind of story you told in terms of with all these women banding together, helping each other up, they'd hate each other's guts, but they'd give a helping hand ultimately. Yeah. And even where Lapata Ladies comes into play, very different canvas, a very different setting, but it's quite the same. Yeah. And the messaging in Hira Mandi, I would reckon, was more direct. And where Lapata Ladies is concerned, you walked out of it and you said, oh, yeah.
It's about freedom, isn't it? At the end of the day, everybody wants to be free, to be able to do what they want to do, study as they wish to, wear what they want to, and to pursue, like the American Constitution says, it's a pursuit of happiness. What allows you to be your full, well-fleshed out self.
I saw you guys, or you girls actually, even off screen, getting each other's back. If there was one of you who was getting some flack on social media, because of whatever, the reasons might be, the main protagonist. And I saw all you bunch of girls come in and support her. And you saw that very actively, which possibly might not have seen a few years ago.
I mean, I think social media is such an unfair beast.
True.
Anybody can say anything. The anonymity offers you a certain kind of freedom, and it empowers a lot of cowards. And of course, you can pay for somebody to be trolled nowadays. It doesn't cost much. We all know it happens. So, why the hell not? Why should we not stand by each other in situations like this?
Kiran, I want to bring you in on this. You're coming back into directing after 10 years. I saw Dhobi Ghat, I thought that was great. And are you going to be more active now from here on? I don't think it's confidence, but what is it? Why a 10-year gap to come in and start directing?
Honestly, I'd like to say it's because I wasn't in the right headspace. I was working all the time, but I'd never got to the stage when I was absolutely happy with what I was writing. And sometimes it's about the headspace that you're in, because now when I look at what I was writing, actually there's gems there that I'm going to now hopefully make. I think it was because a lot of my creative self went in being a mum, and I was very, very creatively satisfied being a mother. And producing gave me the chance to be part of the industry, part of my, use that part of my head and my skill set without having the sort of pressure of being the artist in front, which a director always is. You're the mother of the project, you're the face of the project. So a combination of many things. We started work on Lapata technically in 2018 when we read the script. So it had been 7 years since my film had released. But I have a lot of things that I've written. I think also, women pride ourselves on being multitaskers and doing so many things, when actually we should really stop and ask for more help and say that, look, actually I would really like to pause everything and direct a film. But you feel a sense of responsibility in making sure that everybody else is also doing well along with you. Your family, your work colleagues, everyone else. And that's something I think that as women we need to do. Step up and ask for help and look after ourselves.
Are we going to see you direct more now?
Absolutely. I'm hoping to, for sure.
And I'm going to bring in both Guneet and, first you, Kiran. And all of you can answer that question. And you touched on this right in the beginning, and we're running out of time, is how important or how helpful is it to be surrounded with other women in your workspace? Your AD's woman, is a woman I know.
Yes.
Does that help you?
Absolutely, and I think in my working career going forward, I'm going to ensure that I have at least 50% women in my cast and crew list. Because that's the only way we'll actually ensure that women get a place at the table. We have to do it ourselves.
No, even here, we're putting this all together, and, I turn to, and that's a woman. And I'll say, okay, we have to do this, that's a woman I'm talking to. But Guneet, to bring you in on this.
I said that at the Oscar speech, and it never gets old. Don't wait for a seat on the table. Create your own table and sit on it and invite your people. So, I think I think forever I've been in a corner, and that corner is shiny because, you work towards that. And at the core, I feel that we are not each other's competition. We never were. That's patriarchy. We are actually each other's companion. And when one woman walks through the door, she just makes space for 10 more. And at the core, it is about how we talk about each other when we are not in the room together. And that is standing up against patriarchy. It's very difficult to explain patriarchy. It's years of patriarchy. But today, it is about being companions. And companionship and women friendships are beautiful, are empowering, are a gift for us.
Just one more question, Guneet. From Elephant Whisperers now to Kill, you're producing Kill. It's just, the genres are two entirely different worlds. What made you do so? And I believe it's getting remade in Hollywood?
Yes, I actually love it when people put me in a box, because then I can jump right out of it. Because why not? Because I can. As a producer, I love telling stories, and I can tell all kinds of genres, and I'm excited, fascinated. It's just that whatever I step into, I want to be able to make the best version of it. And I do try that. So Kill was very well rewarded, picked up by Lionsgate for their first foreign language film for a US distribution. We sold around the world. After Lunchbox, it was actually Kill that did 10x more business than even Lunchbox. So I'm just happy that, it was my first time doing action, but we made sure we did it as well as we could on a global standard. So.
Richa, you want to weigh in on that question, which both of them have spoken of getting women in the team. I'm a political journalist, and I've been out, and at times when you speak to women, they'll say, जात पात नहीं होना चाहिए, पर अगर जात होना चाहिए, हमारा जात है महिला. महिला जात के लिए कुछ नहीं होता है. So, do you think it's important to, get women working with you? So, Does that help you? Is that a part of your process?
I'm reading that as well, so I'll keep it very brief. When we were trying to crew up for Girls Will Be Girls, which is again a feminist story, we realized that there are very few women in the lighting department in Bollywood and actually in general in the film industry. So we applied for a grant to Berlinale, the Berlin Film Festival, and we won a grant and we ran a free of cost lighting workshop in association with Light and Light. It's called Undercurrent, the second edition of which will happen this year, whereby we trained girls who wanted to become gaffers, cinematographers, but didn't have the training. And it actually even forced a lighting rental, Grips rental house to evaluate and be like, yeah, lighting ke liye to koi course aisa hai nahi. So they devised a course. We selected 10 girls, we paid them a stipend so they could take time off their normal jobs and they learned basics of lighting, and today one of them is a gaffer, one worked on our set. So sometimes I feel, sometimes when Guneet says make your own table, sometimes you also have to buy the wood and then, get everything together and make sure if it's not been done before, that you find a way in which to do it. And you'll be surprised how many people just join in because they realize, okay, there's nothing in it for them. So they're just doing it out of a desire to help out and a desire to create the next generation of female technicians, and they come on readily to help.
You know, that's the best, if I can say, casteist statement that I've heard. If it comes down to that you're a clan and you're watching out for your own. I thank all three of you. And thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise a very warm applause. 10 years ago, one would have said that this is a great time to be women in the film industry, but that doesn't matter. You guys are hitting it out of the park. And you just happen to be women. Thank you. Thank you.